Hi, this is Micornus, Phokane, the leader and the founder of the Young Men Empowerment Forum. We are continuing with this great topic, and this is part 2 today. We're speaking about how to navigate conflict through emotional intelligence. And I want to emphasize that this is a great topic indeed, because every conflict can be solved through a very powerful emotional intelligence. So each one of us as young men need to develop emotional intelligence. And that's the only way we are going to be able to navigate through conflicts. And there are a lot of conflicts in the days that we're living in, and I'm sure you've realized that there are conflicts amongst us as peers, there are conflicts amongst our own families, there are conflicts in our own churches and in the society, in the communities that we are staying in. And those conflicts, you find them even in church. And we're having those conflicts actually all over the world, and you find them on a global level as well. Nations are having conflicts with each other. But to be able actually to become a great negotiator in conflicts and to navigate through conflicts, you need emotional intelligence. And I want to speak about navigating then conflicts through emotional intelligence as a young man. And I believe that will help you as a young man. The first point that I want us to touch today is when you are navigating through conflicts is to focus on collaborative solutions, not to blame. And we have seen that many times when people are actually having conflicts among themselves, they start blaming each other. You have seen that in relationships. And I'm sure you will testify that you have seen it as well in your own families, that everyone wanna justify themselves. Everyone wanna blame the next person. And I want to say that when you start to play what we call a blame game, you are actually making this conflict to be worse. Because what you are doing by blaming other people, you are actually raising the egos or provoking the ego of the other individuals, the ego of the other person. And every one of us have got our own egos. And most of the time, our egos are promoted when you want to prove yourself against someone. And I want to emphasize that it is due to this that you have seen that many have egos, and that is the reason why they are not actually solving any or reaching any solution with any conflict, and they're not ready even to negotiate. They're not ready even to sit down and look at solutions as well. And that is the reason that blaming game then becomes very dangerous when you are dealing with conflicts. And I want to urge you as a young man that avoid blaming, but look at collaborative solutions. And you might be the one who's involved in a conflict with someone. How collaborative can you be? Check yourself. Are you able to be collaborative? Very, very important that you become collaborative yourself. But I want to emphasize that if you are mediating between people that are in conflict situations as well, emotional intelligence is very important. That you don't allow the people to blame themselves or to blame each other. And you don't also, when you come there, discussing with them, to look for someone that you can point and blame amongst them. Be neutral as possible, because that's the only way that you're going to resolve any kind of conflict. As I said, without people raising or entertaining their egos. Because when people entertain their egos, you are going to have a very high mountain to climb in order to solve or to reach consensus amongst the people. Be collaborative in nature. Let every solution that is put on the table be seen as beneficiary by both parties, so that everyone see a win-win situation out of the resolution. Everyone see that I'm going to gain something as well out of this. And it is actually helping me as well to actually resolve this. It actually benefiting me to resolve it. And the other individual as well, it must be the same. That we find what we call a neutral resolution, a way of finding a way of solving issues, and so that we are able actually to look deep into ourselves and say, am I ready to solve this problem? If you're not ready yet to solve the problem, so please reflect. You may need to pause and take some time. But as we have said in part 1, that don't take too long, but rather approach or address conflicts a bit more immediately within the confined time, and don't take too long. Because the longer you take, as we said in part 1, is the more it gets worse as well. So it's very important then that you look at collaborative efforts of solutions, as a solution that we can work together, a solution that demands us to hold hands and say, how do we then work together towards this solution? And that helps because everyone then participates in the solution. And everybody feels that I've contributed to the solution, and everybody feels that then I'm part of the solution. And therefore they've got a sense of ownership. They take ownership out of that, and you find that the solution that is being reached becomes more far-reaching, or even much more sustainable, because everybody would take ownership out of that solution. It's very important that we make sure that everybody take a sense of ownership out of the solution. Now, the second point that I want to speak about when you are navigating through conflict using emotional intelligence is you need to adapt emotional tones as well. You need to adapt emotional tones. For effective communication, the emotional tones are very, very important. Now, I want to emphasize that emotional tones are very key in the sense that sometimes they may be heard from your voice. Just the way you speak, you may actually be heard as somebody who is actually still angry. We may actually depict your anger from your voice. We may depict actually whether you are upset through your voice. So it's very important that you actually become careful of noticing the emotional tones, because that is not going to help it when you are saying, I'm forgiving you, but yet there's a tone of unforgiveness. When you say, I love you, but there's a tone of hatred. And I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about, and I'm sure many of you as young men would understand what we are talking about right now. That when we talk about emotional tones, we're talking about those feelings that are reflecting in your voice, that are reflecting on your non-verbal actions as well, your non-verbal communication, that people can read it from your face, that you're not happy yet. You're not actually solving the matter. You're actually compromising. There are those people that are actually saying, I want to sort out an issue. But you look at their face, they're not ready to solve the problem. You look at their emotions, just their posture, just how they present themselves. You realize, this one is not ready yet. Now, because that is what we call emotional tone, it will reflect highly outside. And everyone is there to see that you are not comfortable in solving the matter yet. You've seen people that say, okay, that is okay. That is okay. And everything they just say is okay. They don't actually get deeper into expressing their own emotions and how they feel about it. But they seem to be agreeing because we are speaking about solving this problem. Now, in that regard, there's what we call an emotional tone. You're still not the person that we want to see. You're still not at your emotional best, where everybody can trust what you're saying, even though you are saying, no, I'm forgiving you, but you don't show forgiveness from your face. Even though you say you understand the solution, but you don't seem to be understanding the solution when we look at you. And I want to emphasize that this is very important, that you check those emotional tones and you manage them effectively. And you be able to verbalize, if you're not ready yet, to speak and navigate the conflict into reach a consensus and solution. Please be careful not to be agreeing while you're not really agreeing from yourself, because those emotional tones will definitely be visible. Will be able to see that you're not comfortable yet, and yet you say you are okay. And I want to emphasize that because it's very key for us to know that emotional tones will speak louder, we will see them. Those non-verbal communication will be seen and witnessed, and will know that you're not ready yet. And please verbalize it if you're not ready. But when you are ready, let it be that you are ready to reach consensus and solution of this matter at hand, and would know that we've made progress when we walk out of this meeting, because solution would have been reached right there. I want to end up here today. Your host, Micornus Phokane. This was part 2, of course, and I hope that you've learned something out of it, and you are going to utilize these tips of how to navigate conflict through emotional intelligence, and you will definitely use that in your life. But before we check out today, we want to remind you of our Facebook platforms, which is Young Men Empowerment Forum, a Facebook page, and also Micornus Phokane as a Facebook page as well. We would love you to please click follow or make sure that you like our Facebook page, but also click notification button so that you are notified when we have posted material of this kind. Don't forget our TikTok account as well, very trendy, and it's a TikTok account that is very powerful as well. But I want you to remember our YouTube channel as well, which is under Young Men Empowerment Forum, and our YouTube channel under Micornus Phokane as well. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel, click notification buttons as well. We want to remind you before we go that we will be soon starting with our face-to-face seminars, which will be gatherings, which will be in a venue, which we will invite you to come and meet other young men in the same venue. And this is very, very important. Since we suspended this kind of meetings during COVID times, we are opening up to start with the seminars again. We will do coachings in those meetings. We will do mentoring in those meetings. We will touch different topics that may be very useful for you. But we know as a young man that you will gain a lot out of this. Remember, we are Young Men Empowerment Forum, and we are called to develop ordinary young men into extraordinary men of wisdom, integrity, and character through kingdom principles. And I believe that you're gaining a lot out of this, and your life shall never be the same again. Till we meet again with part 2 tomorrow. With part 3 actually tomorrow, because this was part 2. May the good Lord bless you and allow me to check out right here and say cheers for now.